1 second. I just want to make sure we see it on the screen, and then we can. You don't have to open it on. Okay, we're on.
Cool. Hi. Welcome. Black and Tan, 0.0075% faster. Episode 23.
23. We've been through 23 episodes with you guys. And definitely want to thank you guys for being here for us. And I'm going to start it off with probably that cliche saying, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, because we're putting in the work. We're trying to put it in and make it better every time. Subscribe to the channel, like it, and don't forget to ask questions, guys. That's the big thing. Like if you're curious about something, ask questions. I don't care. If you hate us, put it on there. Talk about how much you hate us. I don't care. But give us some feedback.
I think you're going to care if they say they hate you. I'm pretty sure.
I don't care. I'll 100% care.
Well, we're in a whole new world right now. Do you look at this? Look at this setup.
Dog, I feel so pro right now.
Do you want to know why? Are you going to say it?
You say it.
Elvis is in the building.
Elvis
is in the building.
Man.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me, man. We're streaming on both channels tonight. So streaming on Black Intent 0.00575, and we're also streaming on DMBN TV. So we have a whole bunch of people saying hi already. We have David. We have Os Adventures, Rafa. So if you guys know any of them.
Nice.
Yeah, so we got
So is it Rafa from
Yep, from Costa Rica.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Should we show him his helmet that I'm going to send him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. I had to get you hooked up, brother.
Yeah, so tell them the story, Donald, of what happened yesterday. We were live on the other channel, and you were on the live.
So I pretend that I'm Hispanic. that I can understand and speak Spanish. So I actually use Google Translator, and I follow along with their podcast that they do to a Spanish speaking audience. And one of the guys on there, Rafa, they were talking about like bicycle safety and helmets and how the helmets fit, and they were looking at some helmets, and he pulled out a helmet of his own, and I was like, damn, dude, that helmet's not to put him on blast. Not trying to put my man on blast because he's a cool dude. But he pulled out a helmet that was lackluster and looked like it was pretty old. And I was like, man. And they keep giving shout outs to Patapsco bicycles all the time. And I really appreciate it. So I figured since they give us so many shout outs, the least we can do is I'm going to donate a helmet to my man, Rafa. So, this is the helmet I'm going to get you, man. It's on its way.
It's going to Costa Rica?
It's going to Costa Rica.
Wow. All right.
Nice. Yeah, he's on the live right now, and he said my helmet, and he posted the
right. So we're gonna take care of him. Really cool dude, really good podcast. Tuesday nights at what time?
Tuesday night at 11:30 our time. So it's a little late for us here in the area, but
yeah,
we're kind of like doing it to encourage people to do more cycling over there in their community, and at the same time here. So we do it every Tuesday, 11:30.
Right on.
Little plug-in in there for our
for sure
Black and Tan people.
For sure, they deserve it. Trust me. The podcast is super cool. Looks pro. The guys are funny. There's always, like he said, it's 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in my basement. I'm watching it. Have my Google Translator on, and there's almost every single time
Coke number 4 probably.
Coke or Pepsi number 4. I'm 4 or 5 deep in the basement, right? And there's a point of their podcast that almost every single time that I laugh out loud, and I'm like, I catch myself because my family's upstairs asleep, and I'm already looking on my phone, and dang it. I got distracted. See what happens?
Paul called it. He said it takes nothing.
This is why I can't look at the screen in questions, because I get distracted.
Nobody knows what happened.
Nobody knows what happened, but
yeah.
I got distracted.
Let me move that out of your way too.
Right. Yeah. So I got distracted that quick. But either way, I'm down in my basement and watching their podcast, and there's times where I just burst out in laughter. So if you can check it out, definitely check it out. It's worth it. Put your Google Translator on, follow along the best you can. It's still worth it.
There you go.
He said he's on he's chatting right now. He says, "Cool, bro. Thank you so much for the donation." So yeah, definitely.
There you go.
And one of the things I want to point out, though, he was saying that for like the kind of stuff that we buy here, like he was talking about like the helmets and stuff like that, it's like triple the price of like what you're sending him. It's gonna be like whatever the price is, it's gonna be like triple.
Whew.
So she's gonna be grateful, dude.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a tough way to get into a sport that's already expensive. I can tell you that right now.
We need to go to Costa Rica with surfboards and bike helmets.
Oh, for
What do you think?
sure.
There is that race, really popular race called the Conquistadores.
I've heard of it.
It's Dylan Johnson did it, and Jeremiah did it a couple of times, I think.
Wow.
Elvis is talking about racing. I thought he didn't race.
Let's clarify. I don't race. I like to have fun. Not like our people that we're gonna have on today. I'm a casual rider.
All right.
Well, it's not like you can't race, right? He just chooses not to. Trust me, my man can get down. Trust me. So yeah, want to talk about who we have coming on?
I want you to talk about it. Yeah.
All right,
Who do we have coming on?
we have Paula and Felipe Fertini coming on. They're local rippers here around the area.
One might be a national champion.
One might be a national champion, and one could easily be a national champion. So they're coming on today. You know, we like to showcase like local people here in the Patapsco Valley area. We've been talking a lot, and I've been telling a lot of people that it's almost weird how fast people are that come from Patapsco. Like, it's not a really big area, but if you look at the local racing scene, let's just take it about 150 miles out, you know, all the way up to Philly, all the way down to the Carolinas. We'll have people constantly on the podium from Patapsco, right? From the Catonsville area, from the Ellicott City area, from, you know, from Howard County. It's just weird how fast the people are that come from this area. I don't know how many national jerseys we have in this area, but it's a lot.
There's a lot of people walking around with stars and stripes on their sleeves. No doubt about it. Yeah.
For sure. Wow. For a small community, we have some super fast people. Even I laugh because even the people that don't think they're so fast, they go to other areas and they're still pretty fast in those other areas. They may not be the fastest here in this big pond, a small pond with big fish. We have a very small pond with a lot of big fish. Does that make sense?
I think, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I have a question. What do you think is the reason why, like, we have so many like strong riders here? Like, what do you think makes this area like special? Or you think they focus on like also spending their time in other locations to do training?
I think there's a good youth development program.
Okay.
I think BYC and other programs like that have done a nice job with youth development and getting them on bikes early. If you're talking about mountain biking specifically, I think Donald and I were doing a ride tonight and we were doing the purple loop and we were going pretty fast on it. And he said, you know, you went pretty fast. I said, I love that loop because in about 4 minutes you get almost every possible terrain you could ask for.
Rock
gardens. Really small rock garden routes,
slippery, a little climbing. I mean,
log overs. It's just like a 4 minute of a really like, you know, everything you like about mountain biking. It's all there.
For sure, we have an area that could prepare you for anything that comes your way, legit. So the only thing we don't have is altitude. If we had altitude, we'd have national champions everywhere. This is one of the only places that you can go and you can ride and get mud, sand, roots, rocks, trees. I mean, it's all there. And you don't, and the crazy part is we're in a metropolitan area. We're 10 minutes from Baltimore City, 15 minutes from DC, you know, and we can get, I don't even know how many miles Patapsco has. Hundreds, right?
I mean, yeah, it can be in the hundreds.
Yeah. Yeah, like 200 miles of single track in Patapsco. So, you know, it's the perfect training ground, I think.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, the only thing it's missing is elevation. For me,
The altitude.
the altitude. So for me, I go out and I ride places like Denver, or I ride like, starting where their baseline is like 6,000 feet of elevation, and I feel it immediately.
No doubt.
Immediately. I
Yeah.
feel like you start looking for excuses on why am I going so slow right now?
Yeah. My brother played a dirty trick on me. He took me out to Red Rocks. He lived out there, and he's riding mountain bike, and he said, "I'll bring your bike." So I brought my bike out, and we're riding, and he's riding. He normally is not in front of me, and he is just crushing me. And I'm like, what is going on? I had no idea. The first time ever riding at elevation. And he looked around, and he said, "It's a little bit different breathing here." And I'm like, yeah, it's
A lot
very
different.
Yeah.
A lot different.
Yeah.
So, so while we were talking and while we got started,
Our two guests have arrived.
they're here.
They're here.
They're here.
They're here.
Speed. Look, this is already minus me. This is already a pretty fast cast, right? I'm the anchor of the group, but someone, always need yin and yang and more yins, I guess, to kind of, to slow things down. If it wasn't for me, this group would be way, way, way too fast.
We're not going to slow it down at that table over there. Just so we're clear.
No, we shouldn't slow it down with you either.
No, but let's talk about these guys.
Let's focus
You
on.
gonna introduce them?
I want them to introduce themselves. All right. Whenever you guys are ready.
Our two guests.
All right.
Hi, everybody. Thank you guys for having us here. I appreciate it. My name is Paula. I'm originally from Argentina, and I'm married to Felipe, where he's from.
Brazil.
That is cool. That's an interesting.
Where did you guys meet? Let's
We
start.
met in college. Yeah, in Florida.
I was wrong.
Yes. And
I was
we came
wrong.
here.
Not in Brazil, not in Argentina,
Not here.
not here.
See, I was thinking that you guys. All right. I made up your whole life in my head. All right. Like, because I never asked you, either one of you.
Including the dog that speaks three languages.
Yes. So I had this whole thing going in my head. So in my head, this is how you guys met, right? You were on a tennis court here. You're coaching tennis here, and you're like, oh, she looks pretty good. Oh, he looks pretty good. You guys got together, you met here, and that that's kind of started your relationship. I thought that there was going to be like this big language barrier, right? But it's okay because love trumps everything. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. So then you got the dog. Now the dog speaks 3 languages, right? Like he speaks three different languages, and sometimes he translates for you guys, right? Because that's what dogs do. They're a good dog, and he's a good dog. He's a really good dog. I like him. But that's in my head. That's kind of like how your relationship was.
Paula, is that how it happened?
Close. But just in Florida, not in Maryland.
Okay.
Not a bad guess.
Yeah.
And for the record, Simba, he listens to all 3 languages, but he doesn't follow any of them.
There you go.
That's Simba.
That's a smart dog. He's a smart dog.
Felipe, is he on Strava or just you guys?
Just
Okay.
He has his own training, though. He has his hiking days. So
Okay.
All right. So you got men in Florida playing tennis in college. Tell me about that? Okay, you both are.
I came to America in 2013. I was in Kansas the first 2 years. Then I moved to Florida, and that's where I met Felipe.
Okay.
I was playing for the team for another 2 years. So he was there after.
Yeah, I was there already.
Because he graduated by then. Yeah, so he's older than me.
Okay.
And that's where we met. And from there, we came here to Maryland after college. But I think that's where we started competing against each other. And that's where everything started, in the tennis courts, and then now it's in the bike.
Yeah, because
Could be.
I saw the ride today, and she beat you by 0.1
That's
speed.
That's the standard right there. It always does.
So you didn't bike till you got here, up in Maryland, or before?
No, I never biked before. I mean, I biked when I was young, but just for fun. Never like having a mountain bike. It was, whenever you're a kid and you always have a bike.
Paula, you're a national champion on the mountain bike.
Yes.
That right here, Paul.
Yeah.
All right. So we were just talking about this before you guys got in. Do you think it's the terrain here in Patapsco that made you fast enough that helped you get to where you're going? I mean, because we were saying there's a little bit of everything you need minus the elevation here. You know what I mean? It'll make everyone fast.
Oh, that's a great question, actually. You want to take it?
You can start.
That's actually a very interesting question, Donald, because I do think so. Because if you look like the history of Petapsco, you have all those great riders that came from here, right? We have Jeremiah Bishop and all those.
That's one.
Have national champion, have those young kids coming super strong. And as you said, you see everything at Petapsco.
Yeah.
And you can have all those big rides all the way up north and makes a complete ride. And on the elevation side, I disagree slightly because if you ride Petapsco for a couple hours, you get a lot of elevation. It's just the type of elevation. It's not what you see on those races,
you just don't get thin air elevation is what I'm getting at.
No,
you know what I mean?
Neither long climbs, right? You will never spend
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes climb. But if you see the elevation profile at the end of the day, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's like,
you'll get 1-to-1 elevation pretty easily here, but you'll get it 150 feet at a time. You know what I mean? So you'll climb a steep 150-foot climb. You go down the other side, and you just do that repeatedly the entire time. We had a 100-mile race here. It was the first Patapsco 100 that we had here. I believe in that race, there were 30 or 40 people that entered, and it was so hard for a 100-miler. Only 3 to 4 finished the race.
Can see that.
Yeah, for doing 100 miles in here, it's just so punchy and so difficult that
and it's all single tracks, right? You don't have a little gravel or a road. You got a road in between. Yeah, it's very small.
Yeah. You're working everything that you get. You're working for it.
Yeah, it's not easy to find so many miles in one place.
No,
it's not easy.
How often do you guys ride together in a week?
Say 3 times. 3
Yeah,
times
at
per
least
week.
3 times.
Yeah.
Between 3 to 4 times.
Always on the mountain bike, Paula?
He's always on the mountain bike. Yes.
All right.
Sometimes I get my road bike while he's in the mountain bike.
Got it.
Yeah.
To slow him down a little bit.
Felipe will ride a road bike every now and then. So
I didn't even know he had a road bike.
you didn't hear the Velo City. So we have a big club locally called Velo City Riders.
I was not there that evening.
So Felipe goes out and rides with this big club, Velo City Riders. And the next day, my phone starts blowing up. Everybody from the club's calling me going, "Who's this guy, Felipe? Who's this guy, Felipe?" I'm like, I'm trying to figure out I don't know. Who is he? I don't know what you're talking about. This guy, Felipe, he came out and he just like burnt the ride up completely, man. He's like off the front and he just pulled the entire time. And I'm like, Felipe. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Felipe.
Yeah. I was like, mess around and find out who Felipe is. So yeah, they learned that day that Felipe likes to stay on the front. He does ride road every now and then. He likes to stay on the front.
Hold on. The first time I saw Felipe ride a bike was at Rockburn Cross. Do you remember that?
Was I there that day?
You were there that day.
Oh yeah, I did, but no, I came in late.
He lapped the field.
No, Felipe rode with us at Velo before.
With me?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I don't
Felipe?
I don't know if Paul was there.
No?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. He's ridden with us a couple times at Velo. And before the last time, he kept it pretty tame. He rode with the A group, and we kind of went off the front a little bit. It was when before Velo became like, the A group wasn't so big.
Yeah.
We would finish, it would only be like 5 of us that would finish in the A group. Now there's like 15 to 20 that finishes with the A group. But yeah, you didn't beat up on people quite as much. But apparently you went out and you made an impression on everybody, which was pretty cool.
We got the one and only Jeremiah Bishops on the live.
All right.
He said Felipe was reaping at Stokeville 60-40.
That's right. That's
the legend
right.
himself.
That's right.
Yeah. Paula, tell us about your national championship.
Actually, it was a very cool experience. It was my first race going by myself. I always have Felipe by my side supporting. And for work, he has to travel. And I just went there the same day, drove my car. I said, okay, let's see what I can do. I mean, I went there before to try the track. I really like it, single track. And I just trust my training. I really trust it. And I was confident that I could do a good race, and it happened. It's not much more than that.
Well,
That is so understated.
that is. See, it's like
She's not telling the whole story.
That's the modest version. Now let's hear the real version.
What
Yeah.
was the distance on the race? Was it like laps or?
So it happened that it was supposed to be 3 laps of, I think, total of 23K, but they cut us off to 2 laps because raining, thunderstorm.
Oh.
So they cut us for 2 laps. 2 weeks before that, I did a race with 5 laps of that course.
Mass
So,
cross country.
in Mass Cross Country in Bear Creek. So I was ready for 3 or 2. So it was a good day. I felt
Bear
good.
Creek is not an easy course, Paula.
No. But I think Petasco had it all. I think the first climb was the only thing that I had to practice a little bit more, 15 minutes, 20 minutes climb. Then after that was rocky. I went to meet up Petasco here a lot that month. So that's how I got prepared. Yeah.
There was a couple moves at Bear Creek that not everybody got through. Did you get through all the moves?
The first lap, there's only one rock that I had to clip it and clip it again.
Okay.
But then the second lap, I cleared up
You did it.
everything. Yeah.
good stuff. Good stuff.
And
So-
then, go ahead.
So let me tell you,
All right. This,
Now,
is
this-
the, this is the unmodest version.
this is the mechanic.
Goodness. Oh no! Felipe's under the bus. He is under the bus.
And again, there's always yin, there's always yin and yang. Let me tell you, these guys ride hard and they're rough on their bikes, but
There's no shame in that.
Here's-
by the
here's-
way. There's
here's-
no shame
there's
in being rough
definitely-
on equipment.
there's definitely not. These bikes are designed to be ridden, right? And I respect the fact that they're ridden all the time, but I had to, their last race that they just did, I had to tell them, look, even if it's me in my personal garage tearing the bikes down, doing it myself, I'm going to make sure from here on out that their bikes are dialed every time they go to races.
That's not the whole story.
That's not it.
I didn't
He
want to
he brings in his bike. He being on the other table over there brings in his bike and says, "Can you make it 85%?"
That's true.
so
That's the whole story.
So they're racing at a high enough level where it's they're winning the races by seconds and minutes sometimes, right? And 85% for me it ain't working. I'm not.
Felipe. Where was it in your estimation? What percentage was it when it arrived here?
That was like 60.
It was a
When I
60.
brought
He
it.
wanted a 25.
He just get it. He just like he just get me to 80, man. That's all. Just get me to 80%, and that's all.
I got to go to Snowshoe, which is like a really hard course tomorrow, and I just need 85.
So if you have a 10-speed bike cog in the back, he only needs 8 of them.
Yeah, take off 2 and
Take
get
2
away.
of them off,
We
and
don't
I'm going to
we
make it
don't- I
happen.
don't need those.
I don't need
That
those
shifter
gears.
cable, cut it in half.
80%, take it away. But that shows you how strong he is, right? Like literally. But the thing I want to now that they're at the level that they're racing, 80's just not going to cut it.
Thank God you talked him out of it.
Now I look.
Two of you guys.
I will figure it out, right? They represent the brands that we sell. They represent our shop and things like that. I feel like me letting him go out at 80% is not going to do. It's not doing our shop any justice.
You wouldn't have finished the race.
I wouldn't have finished.
And I will say thank you for that because Snowshoe, the condition was rough.
Yeah, if
very
you-
muddy, and
we
Yeah.
wouldn't
my
have finished
my
the
bike
race.
was dying. It was great.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's. I like to believe like a lot of like you, like a lot of the people that I deal with, I start to build relationships with, like friendships with, also, right? And I wouldn't let my friends go out and ride if I have the ability to help them out and get their bikes dialed in, whether I do it here at the shop or I say, okay, well, look, it's not fair for me to give you free labor here at the shop. Come to my house and I'll work on it at my house on my own free time. Then I would do that too, right? So, at the end of the day, Paul, me and you wrenched in my garage late night plenty of times just to make sure that he's set up. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what I like to do it also. But, if that's the least I can do, that's the way I contribute and feel like when you're standing on the podium, I have a little piece of that, right? I have a teeny bit of that. So it makes me feel good every time I see people that we've contributed to on the podium or succeeding in any kind of way. And it doesn't have to be on the podium, just succeeding.
Tell us about that race, Felipe. It was just maybe last weekend or 2 weekends ago. You finished second, and you went out with a 95% bike.
No.
It was 100%.
His bike,
Thanks God.
his bike was 100.
Was it 100? Okay.
100%.
Okay. All right.
Came back 90.
It came back a little bit. Yeah, it came back a little
20%.
Yeah, but it went out 100, bro.
Tell us, it was really muddy. It was
Connected to that, like I was gonna go at 85%, and I tried to insist the next day today to 85-90%, and you guys just no, let's not do that. And it's like you said, if it wasn't for that support,
Yeah.
wouldn't have that, because I'm there riding the bike, but we know that takes a village and a help behind, and that's
I made a phone call to SRAM, and our regional SRAM rep told him same thing. Look, they ride all SRAM stuff, and these people could be on the podium if we hook them up. And they were generous enough to give us a really good discount on products, so we could in return give Felipe and Paula some good deals on stuff also, and that just helps out. Like you said, we're not pros. We're not getting stuff for free, right? If I got stuff for free, I would give you guys free stuff. You know what I mean? But
tell us about the race. I want to hear about it. I didn't hear
Yeah,
the
it
race.
was like we went there before to see the course, and there was like a fair amount of technical stuff. There was an enduro part, extremely rooty. The rooties are very they cross each other. There's no pattern in them.
There's a section where the root is actually above the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
a lot of those sections.
Yeah.
There was
on a downhill.
There was an downhill. There was an enduro called Enduro Fingers segment, and it was sketchy because it was very wet. The last 3 days were raining, and there is all this fog over the night. It doesn't dry. So one day before they removed a couple segments, there was really technical, but there was still a lot of technical stuff out there. So out of 65 miles, we had 30 miles. The first 30 miles was 95% of single track, rocky, rooty, and some parts extremely muddy. Because what they're doing there, they're building all those backcountry trails, because they're bringing World Cup now and the Marathon World Cup. So they're building a whole. So the first part was very physical, and incredible trails, but the way it was tough to ride, because it was just extremely slippery. My tire choice was very questionable, because the second half of the race was all gravel. So I was willing to give up a little bit of traction the first half to gain a little bit of speed on the second, but it's hard to tell if it was a good core or not. Anyways, we start we were a group of 3. We pull away from the group early on. We had a local friend from Annapolis. He was leading our first hour, extremely strong. He was a cross-country rider, so he put a crazy pace. Jim and I, a local beast here, we just stayed there. In the first hour, we pull away. And the 3 of us, the first 3 hours, Corey had a mechanical. Then from there on was just Jim and I. We were trading pools until the last 5 miles, 6 miles of the race. So from there, we had a gravel climb, and then on the top of the climb, it got really muddy, and then we were descending this double track. I got a wrong line, and then I fall in the middle of the double track, and I had to dab a couple times, and within 10 seconds, Jimmy went away. He probably put the hammer down there and never saw him. The way that battle turned out, it wasn't as good as it, let's say, supposed to be, considering the great race that we were having. But it tells you how 10 seconds, how a small mistake can cost you a big race, right? A big day. Sure. And all credit to Jimmy, because first of all, he had a different tire choice. I don't know if that really helped him at that moment, but he was just smarter at that moment, right? And he saw the opportunity, he took it. And I couldn't be any happier with the result, but that's how it played out. It was it was an excellent day. It was one of those races that look back, I don't know how many things I could have done better. Probably stay a little bit more focused on a moment that we were not in a single track, so you relax, right? And I shouldn't have. That's the reality.
Do you take your history in tennis competition into mountain biking? Is it?
Yeah, a lot, right? That's how we were wired. That's how we were raised, tennis and competition. So you just carry on.
Yeah. Wow.
And I think that's how we picked it up, the sport, right? We just, the whole life, that's how we did. We compete, we train, we love it. and that's how we do with the bike.
Yeah, I think the athlete for the mentality is, discipline. Wake up the next day, do the same thing again and again. And like I say, I trust your process, trust your training. I think that's very important. That's how we grew up with tennis. And I think that's what it's
How
coming to.
do you guys eat McDonald's or anything like that?
No McDonald's, but yes, we do eat.
Yeah,
the food.
On the right moment.
We love this place right here. Right across the street.
German place?
The German place.
Oh, the Rescuer.
Yes, we go there once per week.
I have a question, Felipe. When you say tire choice, we have like a lot of mix of audience on the live, but can you kind of like explain to them like what was your like tires brand or like size and stuff like that?
I was using Max Icon 235 in front, and I had a Recon Race 225 in front. The Recon Race was probably not a great choice, but my Recon Race is even sleeker than a regular Recon
20%.
Race. It's a 50% Recon Race.
Thank you. Shoot,
I
it was worn down, so it looked more like an Ardent by the time you got out of the course, right?
Listen, the last race of the season, I'm not gonna put a new. I had a new Recon Race at home, and I said I'm not gonna put the last one. I don't know, the way that I sleep there on that double track, I probably would have sleep any other tire, but
right.
That was
So
what I was using.
You had the Recon in the rear or the
Recon Race in the rear,
Okay.
Icon in front. So it was a fast setup, right?
Yeah.
Front and rear.
A fast dry setup.
So 2.3, 2.0.
2.35 in front, 2.25s in the back.
Okay.
Which is what I raced all year. It's just a overall fast setup.
Mm-hmm. And Paula, when you were at Bear Creek, what did you run?
Icon in front, 235. Aspen in the back,
Aspen
225.
in the back,
Yeah,
okay.
and I ran the same for a snowshoe.
Okay.
But I
did?
put I put
Wow.
Cush core in the back, in the Aspen, in the rear.
Yeah, I did a Cush core for setup.
Okay.
How did you like the Cush core?
I love
by
it.
the way?
I love
Okay,
it.
because that was questionable, right?
Yeah.
I was. She said, put it in. I said, look, at the end of the day, you get there.
Paul does not ride without Cush cores, just so we're clear.
You can
sold.
You can rip them out. You can rip it out. If it, you know what I mean? Let's get it put in, test it out. If you like it, stick with it. If you get there and you're like, you know what, I didn't like it, you can have a mechanic somewhere just rip it out real quick and you're good to go. But putting Cush cores in is the hard part, right? Getting them out is pretty easy.
Yeah.
All right, since we are on the subject of the bikes, I have a question here from one of the audience. It says, what's their go-to bike daily and race? Like, what's your...
I love using my hardtail. That's my beat-up bike. I have a hardtail XTC Giant, and I ride that bike like a lot on the road, Petapsco, just so I don't beat up on the race bike too much. My race bike is my Epic Evo, 120 in front and 115 in the back.
That Portuguese accent.
Yeah, we run the same bike.
Yeah.
Same bike.
Yeah. I try to use the hardtail, but I just love too much my Epic Evo, yeah.
So on Patasco, you're riding a hardtail a lot of times.
Yeah, like 75% of the time.
Wow. You hear that, people?
Yeah, but he races that Epic Evo. Do you think you're giving up any with racing an Evo versus racing just a regular Epic, or do you think
You mean that in the size of the suspension or the quality of the components?
Yeah, the size of the suspension. Like, so the Epic Evos, a lot of people don't know. The Epic Evo has more travel and it has a little more rake to the front. So technically it's not as fast as a regular Epic would be because it's a little heavier, but it's a lot more capable when it comes to the rough stuff.
Yes.
So it's give and take. Where are you strongest? Where are you strongest?
Do you want to take it?
You take it for me.
It feels like some of the courses that we race, probably we could go faster with a lighter bike, but like if you look throughout the year, we have some rough races, Shenandoah. There are like a couple rocky stuff. And a lot of those races spend 5-6 hours on the bike, right? And 110 travel, it beats you up. 100 travel, it beats you up over time. So maybe I just really like the 120. But I wouldn't be surprised if 100 millimeters would be a little bit faster,
On certain courses.
On certain courses.
That's what you raced at Shenandoah?
120.
The 120?
120.
Okay. Nice.
And I wouldn't like to be with 100 over there. Even with all the gravel, but you have those descents. That even if a 120 was so like bumpy and chunky that it's like that would be awful.
Yeah.
Since we're on the subject of the sorry if I cut you off of the Shenandoah, someone asked, in good conditions, did you like the Shenandoah 100K or the snowshoe route? In good conditions,
I like which course I like better.
right?
That's
That's a
tough.
tough one.
That's a tough one, buddy. Because like personally, I love Shenandoah. That place, the trails that they have it, like I just love. And the long climbs, the descents are super
Right.
flowy.
I would
Snowshoe
choose
is not.
snowshoe.
You like snowshoe
Yeah, I
better?
would choose a snowshoe. Yeah.
Snowshoe better than
Mhm.
say okay.
I think I will go Shenandoah.
Shenandoah?
More from my style, but I don't know. I can't say one place is better than the other. It's just
Okay.
I prefer better because of my style of riding. Shenandoah.
What is your style of riding?
I like the long climbs. I like the climbs and the descents that they are more flowy versus they're super chunky.
Would you say you're a climber versus like a technical rider?
I like the technical stuff, but not technical stuff like where those very, very big and chunk rocks and slow roll. I like more of the fast roll and carry momentum. Not the guy that love the super, super tech stuff,
Right.
that you average 7 miles on a 5 hours,
Right.
That's not my style.
So someone asked me like, when they saw that we posted that you were going to be on, and they're like, when you go out on Patasco, is it like, do you plan the routes, or you just like, I'm just going to go and ride? or for any of you guys, do you guys like create the route? This is how much an elevation I need to make for today, or you just kind of like go and have fun with the trail?
I just go and have fun. I have back in my mind a route, but maybe if I feel to go left or right, I go left or right. I choose in the moment. But I think you plan a little bit more, right?
I plan a little bit more, but not to the point of number of elevation,
Mhm.
anything like
Okay.
that. But I do plan, and the way we plan a lot should depend the race that we have.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of do a route more specific to that race. We do think about that a
Mhm.
lot.
That's smart.
But that always by hours, when I spend a certain amount of hours out there. And
So how do you combine your training with your teaching tennis, right? You guys both teach tennis. That's physical, right? That's
It's very
not,
physical. Yes.
right? It's not a stand at a desk and do a job.
Mm-mm.
Paula, you're riding 3 days a week.
No, I ride 5 to 6 days.
Okay,
I ride
6 days.
three with Felipe. Yes.
3 with him,
Yeah.
3 with him if you have to. I get it. And then you're doing tennis 5 days a week too, right?
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
Stay married.
Stay married.
Stay married.
So how do you work that out in your plan?
It's very tiring, but I try to get as early as I can from the morning. Then I'm in survive mode at 6 p.m. at work, but I think it's been getting used to that. I would say coaching tennis helped me out a lot to be where I am with the bike, to keep, we've been an athlete forever, like for at least 20, 22 years old, 22. And how you have to be reminding this kid, because we coach high performance kids and 8 to 18 years old, we prepare them to go to college or if they have to go professional, and how we had to remind them, you got to be disciplined. We got to do this. We got to come back. We got to plan for them. We have a schedule. We have to see when to go to this tournament, to pick in this tournament, right? So I think it helped me out a lot as a rider too. But
Yeah.
physically, I just getting used to some days. It's like, I cannot take this anymore.
Right.
There are some
Right.
days, yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Because an 18-year-old kid going to college on a ride, he doesn't hit the ball or she doesn't hit the ball very softly. Like they're
Yes.
players, right? So it's not like you're
Yes.
if you're a hitting partner with those kids.
Before I was hitting a lot with them, but now that I'm riding more, I cannot do both.
Okay.
And recently, I just hit with one of the kids, and
Yes,
I had to take off from the bike. I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's
yeah,
interesting.
different sports. You use different muscles, different.
Yeah. Felipe, do you find the same?
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, Paul. But then you just learn how to coordinate. But it definitely makes hard.
Yeah.
But then everything around you really gotta be mindful about it. The nutrition, the sleep, everything makes part to make things, Because if you don't go to bed at the right time and then we try to work another 6 hours and have a hard day in the morning, the intervals, we know it's gonna break down or the interval's not gonna be,
Mhm.
So it's like you try to think about the whole package and make things reasonable.
How many races did you do this year?
I did 4 races only
4 only.
because of the injury. Yeah.
Paula?
7. I would say 7.
7.
Yeah,
Okay.
7.
For those of you who don't know, Felipe broke his collarbone. Not only broke it, got
Completely shattered. Yeah.
yeah, little
7, 8.
still metal.
7, 8 races. Yeah.
Okay.
Was that
7,
was
8.
that on the bike, like racing?
Was that no? That was training.
Training in Patapsco.
Daniels. Shattered my collarbone. Flew over the handlebar. Called Paula. I think I broke here. Can you pick me up?
Yeah, that's the
I was
worst.
asking, are you sure you broke a bone? I'm working. Are you sure?
That's the worst call that you have to make to
That
your
was
significant
tough.
other. Let me tell you, I've made those calls where I've had Amber come pick me up, and it's like, early in the morning, she's like, "Can you ride home?" I'm like, no, it's a come pick me up call for sure.
It was sad.
Paula, you did 7 races.
7 to 8, I would
7 to
say.
8,
Yeah,
okay.
I started with Stocksville. Then I went a little more to cross country to prepare for Bear Creek, and I ended up with snowshoe. I skipped Wilderness 100. I raced Shenandoah 100K, and that was my first race that I didn't finish. And I think it was a good sign for me. My body was not ready. My mind was not ready. A lot of traveling for work. But it was good. So I prepared myself better for snowshoes.
Okay.
So I think it was a good sign. I didn't like it that time, but it got down under my nerve, that I said, no, I cannot do this. I cannot finish this race again.
Yeah.
So I think
That
it was a good
actually a
one.
good story because
Yeah.
So,
Oh, Felipe's
okay,
done.
I'm sorry.
this was the
That's it.
first time
You know how
ever.
it works.
Yeah.
It was the first time ever that Paula never finished a race, or that probably the first time that she was in the podium. And after we finished Shenandoah, we went to snowshoe because we had that weekend planning snowshoe to try the course. So driving to snowshoe, we had all this talk about things that we could have improved from Shenandoah. And then a week ago, we were driving on the same road and remembering all the talk that we had and how far she came in terms of mindset and her training from 3 weeks before. And that's what it's all about, right? You do those races and you learn and you fail, and then you do better the next one, and then the next one you're probably gonna fail again. So it was really nice to get that drive back again and talk about it.
I think sometimes the expectation, go to under your belt. I went there to Shenandoah with the expectation of winning, right? And in the other race, I went there. I'm gonna race. I'm gonna do the best that I can do, and I'm ready for this. Like I say about Bear Creek for my national champion, but in this race, I put a lot of expectation on me, and I was leading the race for the first 45 minutes, the first climb, and I couldn't finish. I had a very small crash that even another day I would have finished the race, but I think I was not ready, mentally. Yeah.
Are you going to defend Bear Creek? Are you going back next
Yeah,
year?
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely.
All right.
Too good of a course.
So my question was going to be, what do you guys need? What do you guys think you need to do to get to the next level? Or is there another? I mean, do you want to even go to the next level? Are you content being where you are? Do you want to, what do you think it would take to get to the next level?
We always want to get better, right? I mean, always want to go one more step. I think a little more time on the bike, at least for me. I'm training 10 to 12 hours per week. If I can spend a little bit more, it's just very hard to schedule with my work. I would love to race a little bit more, to add a little more races. But to be honest, I just want to keep enjoying it, enjoying embracing this. It's not like, okay, I have to race, I have to do this, I really want, because I want to do it and spend my time enjoying and riding bikes. And that's how things will come, as long as we will keep working on it and keep training the next day and trying to learn from mistakes or learning from the positive too. I think that I don't know what to do for the next level, but yeah, I don't know. What else?
Felipe, what's your goal?
I mean, I have a couple outcome goals in terms of results.
Get more KOMs in Patapsco, or that's not one of them.
I'm not very good at that. That's very like I have a couple outcome goals in terms of results, but I really try to focus on those process goals in terms of like what to do to get there. But most important, what what really make us happy in the bike or make me happy in the bike. Like sport has always been a job. It's being like, super competitive my whole life. Bike is like my happy place. Before being like a race or competition is my happy place. It's where I enjoy. Right. So I don't want I don't want competition to take away the fun of it. So I'm in this transition where bike training is becoming very serious. So I'm trying to find a fine line. But one thing for the next level is just like this was my first year as a structure that really working the whole year of structure and have those right types of intervals, specific riding. And the next step is just staying consistent with this process and just sharpening up, those intervals, making a little bit better, or that extra round, make the hard a little bit harder, make it more specific towards that specific race. I don't know if there's one thing that it would put me to the next level. I think it's a combination of little things with a lot of consistency. That's for sure.
Do you guys have a coach, or how do you go about your training?
He's my coach.
I mean, I obviously you're a tennis coach, so you know enough about nutrition and getting people where they need to be. Does that translate to cycling as far as like the same kind of? I mean, tennis is pretty explosive, right? It's a very explosive sport. Mountain biking in our area is a very explosive sport. Do they translate? Does that same training translate over?
I think what translated the most, because it was this year that I started coaching her and having those training peaks. And
I asked him, like, do you want to coach me? Are you sure you want to coach me? You want to take it? And he said yes. So,
because one of the things I love about bike, I study a lot. I love to read book about bikes. I listen a ton of podcasts. All my rides, I listen podcasts about bike and training, physiology of the cycling. I love that stuff. So what I take the most as coaching tennis is actually a relationship coaching athlete. Because like, if you know the theory, what the hardest part about coaching is actually knowing what the athletes really need, because every athlete is different, and knowing how to share the information in a way that the athlete's going to accept and follow that. That's the art of coaching. Because the technical aspect is very important, right? But that stuff you can learn in books and with experience. Not that I have, because I haven't coached people in cycling enough, but I got a lot of stuff from books, right? But at the end of the day, the most important is know how to share that information and make them accept that information is legit. And that's the process that we are. It was cool.
Mostly in athlete center, because each athlete is different.
Athlete center, that's the name.
And that's, we cannot go out there and think, okay, as a tennis coach, I cannot go there and give out this 100 kids the same schedule, the same practice, right? So I think the same thing goes with biking. Each of us, we have a different thing that we got to work on, right? So I think an athlete center is important. But yeah, I think it translates a lot being a coach in tennis.
For sure. For sure.
Paula, where's your favorite place you've ever had your mountain bike, where you've ever ridden? Favorite?
If I say Petapsco, do you believe me?
No.
I love Petapsco.
If that's the legit answer,
I love Petapsco. I love it.
There you go.
We had.
So you would say more than Shenandoah, like as
Yes.
far as like views?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I love views, but sometimes I'm biking and I just want to pass. I want to just keep riding, so I never stop in the views.
She never stops.
But no, yeah, Petapsco, I love it.
Stop, that's Strava.
We had this conversation multiple times on like favorite places to ride, and I go out and I'll ride out west, and I think that this trail's incredible. It's incredible, but if we're just talking just the trail, right? Not everything that goes along with it, like the scenery and things like that. But I mean, that adds up to what makes a ride a complete ride. But if we're just talking about like trails, I ask this question all the time: what's your favorite trail? Right? I tell people all the time, my favorite is like Patapsco. It's got everything. The trail itself. If we're just talking the trail, Patapsco. Imagine if we had Patapsco's trail out in like Colorado. You know what I mean? It would be amazing.
People would go crazy about it.
Yeah, it would be amazing. We just don't have. We have the Patapsco River as our scenery. We don't have 1,000-foot cliffs like and that overlook the Colorado River. You know, like Horsethief Bench in Fruita, Colorado. We don't have those type things. I think that's beautiful and everything. But again, we go back to the trails, and I'm like, dang, our trails are way better than this.
I really like Shenandoah, Pisgah, but I always ask myself, would I like to bike here every single day? And I always come with Petapsco. I would love it to bike
That's
every single
cool.
day. So,
That's powerful. That's a strong statement.
Do you guys feel like, because you're both from South America, do you feel like, did you guys grew up over there, or like, okay, so do you feel like the altitude over there kind of like, it's like nothing compared to like when you're here at Patapsco, and then when you go to a snowshoe or Shenandoah, it's like, oh, this is like flat compared to the altitude in South America?
actually, I never thought about that.
Really?
Yeah. I live in a place, I used to live in a place in Argentina where we have a lot of trails too, biking trails, right below the mountain. But no, I never thought about that.
Elevation.
The elevation, yeah, the altitude.
The
You're
altitude,
not
yeah.
biking there either, right?
Yeah, no, but
We start biking
that's
here.
true.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Felipe, where's your favorite place? Is it Patapsco, or is it someplace different that you've ridden your
I
bike?
have a very similar perspective. I love North Carolina. There are a couple trail systems that I love. Dupont,
Mhm.
big fan of that place. I love Shenandoah, man. I keep coming back to that place. There's something special about it. Probably that's one of my first races there, and it's close from us. Probably Shenandoah, my favorite place, the place that I always want to go when I have a time. And she say, "We want to go there again." We are. Yeah, but I wouldn't like to live in any of those places. Again, Petapsco. Maybe Petapsco feels like it's home. I think that's why I have this special feeling about it. But it's very similar, But if I would pick a place, probably Shenandoah. And we haven't been in many different places either,
Yeah. All right. Paula, who taught you how to ride a bike, and what was your first bike?
My first bike was a hybrid, a Giant. I don't know which Giant.
Okay.
This was funny, actually. So we started in 2020 around April, maybe, from March to April. And we were biking this trip at Petapsco
on the hybrid.
on the hybrid, and my dog. And we used to see all these guys with the mountain bikes with it. And Felipe said, well, I think when I get you a mountain bike, no, I don't want one. It's the same thing. And then for my birthday, he got me a hardtail, a Giant Talon. No, is it Talon? No, the Fathom, aluminum. I rode that one for 1 year and a half. And I told him, like, in the beginning, the first 10 rides, this is the same thing as the hybrid. Why you spend this money? It's the same thing. And I was wearing like a big boots of
I couldn't
hiking.
believe.
Yeah.
And
Was it an 85% Talon, or was it or Phantom, or what was it? It was a full bike.
yeah, and then he said, no, you gotta get the shoes. And no, I don't want it. And he got me one. Said, this is the same thing. So I started to understand like biking after maybe six months. He made me sign up for a race, 50K race after 4 months, right? In July, Pennsylvania, Rattling Creek.
Yeah.
50K, a lot of rocks. I was with my hardtail aluminum. I just started biking, and that was the worst
We
experience
raced
for me.
together.
Yes.
We raced together.
Actually, after that, I was zero motivated for racing, and it took me 1 year to race my first race by myself. I raced with him, Rattling, by myself here at Petapsco Trail Fest. And that's when I got my Epic Evo comp for that race. And then everything, changed there.
But no one really taught her, Paul. And,
No.
And when
I was learning from him. I was always behind him,
What about as a kid? Like
that's where it happened.
No, he keeps saying that I'm lying, but no, I used to have a bike. I used to have my friends, 3 of us in the bike. And I was the only one fit because I was a tennis player, and my friend didn't do a sport.
You don't remember someone holding your balance and keeping you upright?
No.
Giving you a little
my dad always used to have like 5 bikes, but none of them worked. Like they didn't have they were all flat tire and no, really.
But I remember when she first got on the bike, and then we brought the hybrid to Petapsco, and she could ride.
You knew it.
You knew it. Even the river crossing morning, she would at least try really hard to cross that thing and go up on a hybrid that have no traction or anything.
Right.
And then the first day that she got that Fathom, the mountain bike, one of the trails that we did was Nacho Mama with all the logs,
Uh-huh.
and she was committing to the logs. She
falling every
but
time.
cleaning
Yeah.
some of those logs, and it's like if you because I knew it, and like you can see that was not normal what she was doing.
Yeah.
She was like,
Yeah.
she had
No, but it's not.
What about you, Felipe? Starting your first time you can remember riding a bike. Who taught you how to ride when the very first time?
I don't remember who taught me how to ride a bike, buddy, but I remember biking a lot as a kid. I used to love to bike when I was young. But then later, when I was 17, I used to do dirty bike with my dad, backcountry on the motorcycle. And I did a lot of that for a couple of years with my dad. Every weekend we would go and ride motorcycles. So like there was a background there in the trails. So when I grabbed a bike here, it felt really good. I think that's where the joy came from.
Right.
So it felt very natural. And that's when I saw her riding, I knew like, okay, she can ride. Because like reading the trails and committing to technical stuff, we know we're mountain bikers. It's not easy.
No.
If you haven't exposed yourself, it doesn't come very naturally. So, but that's where it comes from for me.
Paula, has Felipe fixed all your kits for the stars and stripes on your sleeves yet, or what was he waiting for? Is it done?
No.
I haven't used that shirt.
No,
right?
not yet.
Yeah. She gotta use
I'm
that
waiting
one.
for you to get the shirt so we can go for a ride.
Oh,
There you go.
there we go. Challenge
There you go.
on the table.
Can you take that off?
Since you guys,
I think it's right there, man. I think it's right there. I mean,
It's right there, but
it's there.
It
It's
is.
there.
very
You're capable of getting a
It's right
start.
there.
Yeah, you're capable of doing it.
Just gotta stick with it. Keep working.
For
That
sure.
was the plan, right? Before you got
that was
injured.
always one of the outcome goals, right? I don't like to talk about there's no, but that's love to happen.
Yeah.
did you guys see yourself like you, Paula, going back to Argentina and maybe do a race?
Yes.
It's a good.
Yeah.
Yes, there's actually one race of 60K right outside of my house. So I always tell him, oh, we gotta go to that one. It's very
Famous.
famous in Argentina.
Okay.
Transmontaña.
Transmontaña, yep. And that's one of my goals, yeah. And then
you
we
do
have
it-
Brazil
and
too.
it's a duo race.
You do a race,
Ooh.
yeah.
So
It's just the time of the year is in August, so it's very hard for us for work, but we're gonna try to make it happen. And then we won one in Brazil, right? The stage race.
yeah, there is a Brazil ride. That's how you would say. It's one of the biggest stage races that they have. Like, it's not as big as Cape Epic, but they say it's one of the 4/5 hardest ones, and that's in Brazil. It's huge. So
You
many
guys are
riders.
doing that, or
We would love
we
to
would
do
love
it.
to do. We'd
That's
love
one
to
on
do.
the plan.
That's
I don't
a
know
big
when.
commitment,
Yeah.
but we're definitely going to do it at some point. And it's a duo as well.
Cool.
So that would be cool.
Yeah, we know how those duo races work out.
We had a couple good stories. about
Yeah,
the
we
duo
had a good
race.
one in
Yeah.
Stay married. Stay
Stay
married.
married. Stay married. Stay friends too. Stay
That
friends.
was-
Stay married.
It's a good test.
Do we have any other questions, Elvis?
we had a couple. One of them is did she like doing the 6 hour Abustak, and will you do it solo? Will she do it solo?
I love it. I did it with Julia. I don't know. I wouldn't do it by myself. No. I wouldn't do it solo.
No.
Not now. Maybe a few months from now I change.
All right.
Right.
I think that's it for now.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you guys so much for coming
Well,
in.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys
Yeah.
for having us.
Yeah, this has been fun.
It's been 100% good.
See, that's the difference. Imagine if it was only 80.
Imagine if it was only 80% good.
Yeah, it wouldn't
We
be.
wouldn't have finished.
We wouldn't have finished.
You guys are very famous, and I'm gonna confess this. You guys are very famous on all the chats here in the area.
Is that right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of screenshots going on of the activities that you guys do. So
Yeah.
I do want to put that out there. And some of the people, it's on the comments. One question, it's kind of like off the bike. In what language do you guys speak to each other?
It's kind of our dog. We speak like three languages.
Three
Like
language.
sometimes, we start with English, then Spanish.
No, just
Portuguese not
Spanish.
much, but I
Spanish and
yeah,
English.
When she doesn't want you to be on the bike, what language she uses? Spanish or
Spanish. Definitely Spanish.
When you're in trouble, it's Spanish? Yes. Okay.
Oh, and then someone is around and they can't hear that I'm in trouble.
Thank you, guys.
One question: what do you guys like someone that wants to, like, let's say, train for Shenandoah, right? And they want to like finish the event. what would you guys tell them? Like, when do that person should start getting ready for like an event like that big? Like someone, not a rookie, but like a person that is riding for a long time, but they want to take that challenge as
If your name is Elvis and you claim that you don't race, but you might want to race the Shenandoah, what should you do?
But it's like, like someone that they've been doing a lot of miles, but they do want to like take it to the next step and be like, hey, I want to do an event that hard. Like as far as like just quick nutrition, how often you should train to get to that point of finishing an event like that.
I mean, if you're talking about an athlete, you want to take it?
You can take it. Yeah.
If you're talking about an athlete with a background already, I think in 4 or 5 months you can get yourself ready. Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
I would definitely prepare in terms of nutrition, understand what works for you. Depends which Shenandoah you're talking about. If they're 100 milers or 100K, right? Because then you can talk about 9 hours on the bike. That's a different animal than 6-7 hours.
For sure.
Nutrition is important. You gotta feel like this thing about, okay, you're gonna race 8 hours, so you have to train 8 hours. There is a truth about you don't have to, right? But there is also a truth about it's important for you to understand what is to be 8 hours on a bike.
That's right.
Okay. It doesn't mean that you're gonna succeed, but you will give a better chance because you've been there before. And when you're on those races, if you expose yourself before, because you're gonna get in dark moments on those races.
Right.
Like I think you guys we all done it. And the first thing that is gonna help on those dark moments, I've been here before. This is not new for me. And then you just dig through that moment, and there's just a bright side in the other side.
I don't know how you don't. I wouldn't say you would be able to get your nutrition plan right without trying the 8 hours and having a nutrition plan. I think that's really, people underestimate the amount of nutrition you have to have and how many gels you can't eat after 4 hours. Like you just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, after a while, your stomach will start.
Liquid and which brand is good for you.
Yeah, what you can tolerate, because after a while, your body will start rejecting certain things.
Don't want to take it anymore.
And you can squeeze it in your mouth all you want. It's just not going to go down, right? Yeah. So, I feel like there's a certain you have to train if you're doing 8 hours, you have to train somewhere near that time because your body has a natural clock. And when if you only train for 4 hours and you're trying to do an 8-hour race, at 4 hours in that race, your body's going to want you to get off that bike, no matter what, right? It's natural. I ride a lot of.
That's what it is too.
Yeah, I ride a lot of 1 hour rides, right? Most of my rides are like an hour. I'll go out for an hour, go off for an hour, an hour 15, an hour 10. I hit the wall every single time because that's all I ride. So you have to train for what you.
But going back, the best chance to like structure yourself, like plan your training ahead. Do a 3 months, 4 months training plan, because at the end of the day, I structured the plan is extremely efficient.
Would you recommend someone to go do the longer climb somewhere like in Michelle?
Michelle, yes, that's super helpful, right? Because since we don't have long climbs here, you go to Shenandoah, 5 of climbs, you're going to spend more than 1 hour climbing. So that's a good one.
Let's not talk about the Shenandoah from this year.
That's the one that I'm talking. Yes, we never done
harder, right?
We never done it before, so this is our first Shenandoah. Yeah,
they did 100K. Yeah, that was the first time.
The first time because last year they done.
And that was hard already. I mean, that was plenty.
I have one question for you guys. What is that meal that you guys have before your race? Like before tomorrow's a big day. What is that meal before the race, and what is that meal after the race?
That's the good part.
Right. We also have pancakes, right?
No, but the day before pasta.
Yeah, pasta at night. Yeah,
pasta with some vegetables. The day after,
the day after is burger. Yeah, a lot of meat, beers.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's the only thing we wanted to hear today.
Yeah,
podcast, right? That's right. That they're real.
That's right.
What is your during the ride? What is your for me when I'm riding? I like the little waffles. But what is that thing for you guys that you're like, oh man, I need to have this during this moment of this race because that will lift my spirit up or give me superpowers or something like that. Like a gel, like a Cliff Bar. Do you guys use any of those?
We do use gels.
Okay.
Yes, and we use flow formulas.
Oh, flow formula.
Yeah, we love it. I mean, I love it.
But we don't have a waffle that I want
No.
right now. I'm
There's
crazy.
no time
Actually,
for that.
when I'm
There's
riding,
not a happy place for
yeah, I
that.
have to be like.
You guys need to pull
yeah.
into a 7-Eleven and hit that blueberry Red Bull.
Actually, so when you get a Coke,
A Coke.
And,
Okay.
That's true. Yeah.
a lot of the long rides I stop one stop for a coffee, and that's my reward. That I get the 3/4 of those long rides, and my reward to get a little espresso or a Coke.
Because we had an episode a couple weeks ago, and someone said the pickle juice. And they're
I watched that episode.
That's
I watched
not
that
a reward.
episode. This was
That's
on
a punishment.
this was on Elvis's podcast. So I watched this episode, and the guys in Costa Rica, they didn't understand how we all drank pickle juice, right? And I don't drink it nearly as much, but I know people that are like rely on it.
It's like the flow formula or that other.
It's more than that.
Infinity,
It's a special drink, right?
It's like,
It's the one drink that if they don't, it's like Dumbo's feather. If they don't drink it, they're not going to finish.
right.
But yeah, pickle juice.
No pickle juice. No. Wow.
I drank it once in my life.
And
for
here-
tennis, yeah.
And here I was going to be your sponsor for pickle juice.
Right.
You want to wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yep.
Thank you. This is
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Elvis,
Thank you.
for making us
Elvis.
look like we actually know what we're doing for a brief moment.
This is what's up. So
Right.
we're gonna hopefully team up with Elvis a lot more and see if we can get this podcast looking a little more professional. He's going to help us out, even if he's not here. He's going to help us out. This is where we can set up our own and make it look more pro. But yeah, want to thank you. Big thanks.
Did you run black and tan tires?
No, might have to.
No.
You know that their thing is
Black and tan. 0.0075% faster.
Definitely.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Have a
Good night,
great night.
everyone.
Thank you.